There's a moment every man faces when his presence no longer pulls her closer, but his silence suddenly does. She starts to notice the empty space where your attention used to live. Her texts arrive slower, then faster. Her tone softens. Her curiosity returns. And you realize something strange. Absence seems to create more attraction than all the effort you once gave, but that power only appears when silence is not a tactic, when it's truth. Most men misunderstand the psychology of absence. They treat silence as punishment, hoping to provoke reaction. But women don't respond to games, and they respond to gravity. Real masculine silence isn't reactive withdrawal, it's emotional containment. It's the stillness of a man who no longer leaks energy trying to prove his worth. Jung once wrote, "The withdrawal of projection is the birth of self." When you pull back your attention, you aren't removing love, you're reclaiming projection. You stop seeing her as the source of your worth and start seeing yourself as the center of your own field. This is the moment when your absence begins to speak louder than words. She feels it, not as rejection, but as contrast. Your silence becomes the mirror where her own noise echoes, and in that echo she starts to wonder, did I lose something? Or did he finally remember who he was? This isn't about manipulation. It's about power, not power over her, but power over your own energy. Because when your silence comes from peace, it becomes magnetic. It turns into the quiet certainty that draws curiosity, respect, and desire. In this video, you'll understand the hidden psychology behind that dynamic, why your absence can awaken what your constant presence killed, and how to master the kind of silence that doesn't chase, doesn't threaten, but simply reigns. You think being present means being seen, remembered, chosen. You think that if you stay consistent, if you show up, check in, remind her of your care, she'll eventually feel secure enough to choose you. But what you call connection is often noise, a constant stream of attention that leaves no space for her to miss you. Every message, every call, every subtle attempt to maintain relevance, they all come from a hidden fear. If I disappear, she'll forget me. But here's the paradox. The more you insist on being visible, the more invisible you become. Picture this. She used to light up when you texted. Now she glances, delays her reply, and scrolls on. Or maybe she still answers, but her tone has changed. Polite, flat, emotionless. You sense it, but don't stop. You send another message, another just checking in, hoping to reignite the warmth. What she feels instead is the vibration of grasping, a man's energy stretching outward, looking for something to hold. The feminine doesn't retreat because of your words. She retreats because of your frequency. When your presence becomes predictable, it stops feeling alive. It turns into emotional background music, pleasant but ignorable. The truth is, constant presence erases polarity. The feminine can only feel desire in contrast to distance. Without space, there's no pull. Without pull, there's no tension. Without tension, there's no attraction. You've probably seen this outside of romance too. The co-worker who tries too hard to be liked ends up tolerated, not respected. The friend who always texts first becomes the one whose messages feel like obligation. Presence without boundaries breeds emotional fatigue in her and in you. Now imagine a small shift. You stop sending those habitual texts. You stop explaining your silence. You let her absence exist without rushing to fill it. At first, it feels unbearable. The quiet is heavy, the urge to reach out almost physical. But as you hold that discomfort, something changes. The energy that was leaking outward starts to return inward. That's not withdrawal, that's containment. She senses it before she understands it. The man who once chased has gone still. His attention is no longer a gift she can assume. That subtle absence awakens a tension in her, a curiosity that only exists in the presence of limits. In this new space, you aren't performing patience, you're embodying it. Your silence doesn't beg to be noticed. It creates the possibility of being felt. The first phase of masculine transformation always begins here, with the courage to let your absence make noise. Because when you stop trying to prove your value, the silence you leave behind speaks it for you. Distance terrifies the needy man because he equates space with loss. When she becomes quiet, he feels replaced. When she pulls back, he feels erased. His instinct is to close the gap, to restore connection before it disappears. But in doing so, he sabotages the very tension that fuels attraction. You've probably lived this before. She starts replying slower. Her warmth fades. Her eyes no longer hold the same curiosity. You feel it instantly, that tightening in your chest, the small panic beneath the calm. So you overcompensate. You send something funny, something thoughtful, something that says, "Remember me." But the more you reach, the more she drifts. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because your energy tells her you're no longer centered. In the feminine psyche, emotional distance isn't a wall, it's a radar. She's constantly feeling the energetic field between you. When your presence grows anxious, she withdraws not out of rejection, but instinct. Her subconscious interprets need as instability. The paradox is cruel. The more you show care from a place of fear, the less safe she feels. Distance, when understood, becomes the most honest form of presence. It says, "I can hold my ground even when you move away." Think about the man who doesn't collapse when she becomes distant. He feels the emptiness, yes, but he doesn't rush to fill it. He sits with it, breathes through it, lets silence test his nervous system. That calm restraint is not coldness, it's emotional maturity. It's the energetic language of a man whose worth isn't negotiated by proximity. There's a woman at work who used to flirt with you. Eye contact that lingered, playful comments in meetings. Then suddenly she turned colder. You feel that loss of warmth and instinctively want to fix it. But imagine, instead of chasing it, you redirect that energy back into your body, your projects, your stillness. A few days later, she glances again, curious. That's not coincidence, that's psychology. The feminine responds to the emotional center of a man. When you remain grounded amid uncertainty, you become a stable point in her chaotic inner world. She senses it unconsciously, a polarity between her fluidity and your containment. That's what creates the magnetic field of desire. But there's more. Distance also acts as a mirror. When you stop overextending, her behavior reveals its true nature. If her connection to you was built on validation, it fades. If it was built on curiosity, it deepens. Either way, distance clarifies truth, something neediness never allows. Men who fear distance end up addicted to noise. They confuse movement with meaning. But silence, when owned, exposes what's real. Every inch you reclaim from the need to close the gap becomes an inch of authority. And soon she stops testing your silence. She starts listening to it. Because in the psychology of attraction, distance isn't emptiness. It's contrast, the invisible dimension where desire breathes. Most men treat silence as a void, something to fill, something to fix. But true masculine silence is not absence, it's presence intensified. It's the stillness that replaces explanation with energy, noise with gravity. You've felt this before. When a man walks into a room and doesn't need to say a word, everyone adjusts, not because he's trying to dominate, but because his energy is contained. That's the essence of silence when it's alive. It doesn't hide, it anchors. When it comes to women, silence has the same power. The feminine senses vibration before logic. She doesn't respond to your sentences. She responds to the tone beneath them. And when that tone is rooted in calm authority rather than fear, your quiet becomes louder than any declaration of interest. Picture a scene. She's upset, emotional, trying to provoke a reaction. You feel the pull to explain, to fix, to defend yourself. But instead, you listen. You let the storm pass without resistance. You stay grounded, breathing slowly, eyes steady, words minimal. That silence is not passive, it's directional. It communicates, "I'm here, but I'm not bending." She might resist it at first. She might call you detached or cold. But underneath that protest, something else awakens. Respect. Because silence in its purest form is stability. And stability is the emotional structure every woman unconsciously tests for. Silence doesn't mean distance. It means discernment. It means not responding to every impulse, not reacting to every emotional wave. It means letting space speak for you when words would only dilute your power. In another situation, imagine she begins to pull away, slower replies, vague excuses. You feel the urge to reach out, to check in, but instead you do nothing, not out of bitterness but out of clarity. You're not punishing her, you're protecting your energy. Days pass, and she begins to feel something she hasn't felt in a while, your absence. And within that absence, her mind begins to wander. What changed wasn't her heart, it was her perception. She stopped hearing your words and started feeling your absence as proof of your value. That's the psychology of silence. It creates emotional contrast. The more self-contained you are, the more her energy orbits around yours. Even outside romance, silence carries weight. In business, it's the man who doesn't rush to speak after a question, who lets the pause hang in the air, that earns the room's attention. In conflict, it's the one who doesn't raise his voice, who commands it. Silence, when grounded, is the language of presence, and presence, when mastered, is irresistible. You see, there's a difference between being quiet and being still. Quietness avoids, stillness observes. Quietness hides weakness. Stillness embodies strength. When your silence comes from fullness, not fear, it becomes magnetic. It doesn't chase, it attracts, it doesn't demand, it commands. Because what you withhold in words, the feminine feels in vibration. And when your silence carries coherence, it becomes the sound she can't stop hearing in her mind long after you've left the room. Absence is the crucible of masculine strength. It's the space where every mask falls away, where you either collapse into the fear of being forgotten or rise into the calm of self-containment. Most men don't survive this test because absence feels like death. It feels like rejection, abandonment, erasure. But to the integrated man, absence becomes revelation. When you withdraw your energy, you start to see the truth of every connection. The woman who only loved your attention disappears. The one who felt your essence stays curious. Absence strips away illusion. It reveals who actually feels you and who only consumed you. Imagine this. You stop reaching out, not as a tactic, but because you've finally run out of reasons to chase imbalance. Days pass. The urge to message rises like a wave, but you stay still. You redirect that energy into training, into silence, into purpose. Slowly, something shifts. You start sleeping better, your thoughts clear. The tension in your body dissolves. What you thought was love was often anxiety. That's when she feels it. Your field changes. The man who once vibrated with need now emits neutrality. And to the feminine, neutrality is not indifference. It's mystery. It makes her wonder, did he let go, or did he evolve? In another scenario, you've been seeing a woman who keeps you uncertain. Warm one week, cold the next. You finally stop participating in the cycle. No announcement, no speech, just silence. Days later, her message arrives. Hey, you've been quiet. That's not small talk, that's recognition. She's feeling the power she once overlooked. Absence flips the polarity. It's the moment when your attention, once free and constant, becomes scarce and sacred. What used to be taken for granted now becomes remembered. Because when your presence was constant, she could relax into it. When it's gone, she's forced to feel its weight. Absence doesn't just affect her, it redefines you. It breaks the addiction to external validation. You stop checking your phone, stop monitoring her moods, stop negotiating your self-worth based on response. Your energy no longer orbits her emotions, it anchors in your own center. This isn't emotional detachment, it's spiritual reorientation. You're not turning away from her, you're returning to yourself. The man who understands absence no longer fears silence. He uses it. He lets it shape the dynamic without forcing anything. And ironically, that's when he becomes most present, because his presence is no longer diluted by need. You've probably seen this dynamic play out. The man who can walk away calmly always leaves the deepest imprint. His silence lingers, his memory echoes. Because he didn't leave out of anger, he left from wholeness. Absence is the final mirror. It reflects whether your connection was built on mutual resonance or emotional dependency. It shows whether she misses you nor just the validation you provided. In the end, absence is not the end of connection. It's the beginning of truth, because when you can stand in emptiness without losing yourself, that's when your presence becomes sacred again. And when she feels that, when she senses that your world didn't collapse without her, That's when your silence becomes the loudest statement you'll ever make. Presence may attract her attention, but absence reveals your essence. The moment you stop using words to prove your value, your silence begins to speak with its own language. Calm, grounded, undeniable. That's the paradox few men ever master. What disappears physically often grows energetically. Your silence is not the end of communication. It's communication evolved. It tells her, I don't chase resonance, I embody it. And when you embody it, her nervous system feels something rare. Stability without pressure. You become the quiet force she can't stop sensing, even when you're gone. This is the strategic game of absence, not a tactic, but a transformation. Because silence only holds power when it's born from peace, not punishment. When it's not about teaching her a lesson, but remembering your own. Absence reveals everything words could never explain. It exposes the truth of connection, the depth of your own self-respect, and the purity of your emotional gravity. You begin to see how your stillness creates movement, how your withdrawal generates presence. There's a kind of silence that unsettles women, not because it's cold, but because it's coherent. It reminds them of something ancient, the magnetic strength of a man who no longer needs to prove, persuade, or perform. So let your silence carry weight. Let your absence breathe. Because when you stop chasing validation, your energy returns home. And that return is the signal the feminine cannot resist. If these words stirred something within you, it's because you already knew this truth. You were never supposed to win her attention. You were meant to reclaim your presence.